So in this next part of the video sequence, we're going to try and mix this colour here, which we've said is a yellow base to it. Now, I've got an improvement for my palette, particularly given that it's sort of quite tricky. This painting is quite a subtle lot of colour mixing that we're going to do. So I've got something here which I'm calling a departure lounge, where we can just get a little bit of the colour and put it out so that if we just want small quantities, we can grab that. And there are some particular colours which are really very dangerous, as we know. Look, I made this little, it's just like a piece of board, and I just put a paper towel on it with a couple of elastic bands, and I find that's really useful. Lamp black is a shocker. So I'm just getting a bit of that out so I can use small quantities, and so on with burnt umber. Phthalo green is, is a dangerous colour. Primary cyan are not as dangerous. So I'm just sort of, I need to not have any terps on my brush. So these little departure lounges will, I think, just give us a little bit more control over the amount of paint that we're using. These reds are very powerful. I think I know a bit about painting, but honestly, I just keep getting caught with these guys. Okay, so I've got my paint here and my departure lounges. If I need a lot of paint, then of course I'll go into the paint itself, but if I need smaller quantities, then I'll go into the departure lounge for a smaller quantity. Okay, liquid. I've written down here, always add liquid to your mix. So it's a little bit like you just dip your brush in, you're not scooping it. There's no great amount of liquid on my brush. And it's a bit like I'm greasing the muffin tray here. I've got a little bit of green on that. I'm not 100% happy about that. So I just obviously didn't clean my brush well enough. So I'll mechanically clean it. I'd used terps, but it just didn't do a good enough job. We'll try again. So a little bit of liquid just to sort of get things moving. And we're going to mix this yellowy colour. So I'll put the iPad here so you can sort of see the type of colour we're going to mix. We could use, I could grab a little bit of, oh, that's strong. You can see how it's a greeny yellow. I am going to throw a little bit of burnt umber in there just to sort of blunt the saturation of that. So you can see with my departure lounge, it's much easier to control the amount of paint that I'm getting. And I'm also going to grab a little bit of lamp black from the departure lounge. And we'll throw a bit of white at this. I'm not terribly happy with this. It's gone more green than I wanted. Not happy about that. So, yeah, it's good. Someone was saying last week, it's good to see me making mistakes. Just purely, from an educational, not a vindictive sense. That's way too dark. I can see that. So I need to lighten that somewhat. So I'm going to do that with white. And I'm trying to figure how I can pull this out of green. So I do that with like a bit of red, I think. That'll pull it away from green and back a little bit towards the type of yellow that I want. Getting happier. Okay. Look, I'm not prepared to say I've kind of, you know, done an amazing job here. But I'll just say, look, it seems to me to be a kind of ballpark colour that I've got. And that's all that we're trying to do in this block-in phase is get a yellow that's relatively light. I'm not going to put in this sun here. And of course there is a transition as it goes up, but I'm going to try and keep it quite simple and not really push that very far. So let me just drop that on top. So look, I need to mix up more paint, but you're kind of getting the idea of what I've done. I'll do this off camera. It kind of looks, you know, when I look at that in relation to that, in relation to that, it sort of looks, you know, like it's not ridiculously wrong. So that's, I'm going to use that as a starter, and I'll fine tune that. If I can just summarize what I did use that cadmium yellow, but it is a very, when you put it in, it's more towards the green than the pure yellow. So I've tried to pull it back using a little bit of red, a little bit more towards a more neutral yellow, and then I've used white to lighten the tone. I also use lamp black and burnt umber, small quantities of that, just to desaturate the colour. Okay, so that is the shiny portion of the beach.